What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another updates patch notes. And today we have 10.9, the season of celebration. So I believe this is the fourth section of a season within the season 10. So I think like every 4 updates will be a new season. I think this is the last one, as I think it's going to be 10.9, 10, 11, and 12, and then we'll be on to another season. It's very convoluted. I don't know why they said that this season's going to be the season of seasons, but whatever. So we're here in a new season-ish, season of celebration. So as per usual, the update notes URL will be in the description below if you want to take a look at it yourself. And so I have seen a majority of everything that happened. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened, but the update notes weren't live as soon as they were done yesterday, and actually partway of today. Today is the 24th. And so I couldn't really look at anything besides like the bare bones of this season's patch notes that was on like a PDF that I did not want to go over. So I was waiting for this, and it came 6 hours ago. So yeah, but like I said, I have seen most of this. So interesting stuff I have to say. But as usual, we are not going to be looking at a lot of the skins slash gimmicks that they're doing. We're going to be looking at the items, the gods, and apparently some new starter items. There's a couple things noteworthy here, I remember. But, you know, things like the game mode's not going to be that important. Additional time for start is nice. I think they did this before to specifically Joust. It was really rough, so another 10 seconds I'm not opposed to. They're doing a new thing with Conquest. Actually, let me look at this again. Oh yeah, they're doing that's what I forgot. They're doing shaman buff camps where you can get like an additional perk on the already buff that you're getting. So you're getting a buff on a buff, which is, the way you get it is kind of gimmicky and it's kind of passive. It's cool, but it's very gimmicky. I don't mind it. It's just a little I don't know how important it's gonna be outside of like maybe like a split second where I'm like, maybe I want, yeah, here are the totems. Maybe I want a certain totem. 10% CDR pen, attack speed. Like, this is already just like, it's cool and it might have a decent impact, but it's not game breaking like this, like Stygian beacon slash the Titan spawning thing mechanic that they added. And they're changing a bit of that. Conquest balance, don't really care about that. And here we are. Items. New recipes. This is the new starter item system, where essentially you're going to be purchasing it for 0 gold. And similar to Gauntlet of Thebes or Prophetic Cloak, where you have to get stacks, there are going to be 2 steps where you have to do a certain goal that you have to reach in order to upgrade it for whatever, and you get gold, more gold, and then a permanent passive, and then eventually it does take up an item slot, I believe. Yeah, these are purchased as items, which is pretty cool. This is actually kind of a sick idea. I actually like this. This is the coolest thing that they've added, I think, this year, in terms of like interesting little mechanics. So I believe they have 5 of these, 1 for each role in Conquest, of course, because that's their main game mode. All right, so let's go over each and try to guess which is which, because I don't know if they specifically tie them to a specific role. But then, because it's already designated in Conquest, I'm going to go over these in terms of non-Conquest game modes like Joust or potentially Duel, but specifically Joust, as I think some of these are going to be better in Joust. So first one, Golden Gooseberries. Your first 2 steps, like I said, will give you gold. So first one's kill 30 minions, second one's deal 750 damage with auto attacks. So this has to be for hunters. And then for the passive, all basic attacks will Also hit enemies within a 10 million radius of targets for 30% of the damage to gods and 50% of the damage to... So this is basically Golden Blade or Golden Bow, depending on how long you played this game. That was a broken item, but essentially this is the same thing as Golden Bow. And but it's going to be doing diminished damage to gods, and then so that's pretty cool. Not game breaking, but I do think this would definitely be a good one to go to if you're a hunter, as hunters are exceptionally good in Joust currently. We have Sturdy Stew, obtain 40 minion assist. Okay, this is going to be your tanks, your supports or whatever. Crowd control enemy gods 10 times. You may not gain more than 1 stack per second. Okay, so basically hit somebody with like a stun, root, whatever. Final dish. Being hit by a hard crowd control creates a pulse that provides 5+ per level protection. So at level 20, it will give you 25 to yourself and allies within 55 units. Only 10 seconds. So this is absolutely going to be good on your gods like Ganesh, Geb. I mean, even gods like Atlas or Sobek, this is still going to be good. And then particularly good on double tank team comps. As being hit by a hard crowd control will give you this pulse. Now, if you're going up against a team that doesn't have a lot of CC, this may not be the best for you because it is hard crowd control. So I think, what is it? I don't think roots count. I have to look at it again, but cripples, I don't think they count either. So you gotta pay attention to that as well. They did up the hard crowd control before to where now it's a lot easier to hit things. So or under certain categories, they changed the categorization of what consists as a hard crowd control, making it a lot easier. So I'll have to look at that again, but this will definitely be good on gods that do a bunch of hard crowd controls in against them. So definitely good for them. And then Bountiful Boa, spend 1000 mana, and then the second one is deal 2000 god damage with the abilities. I'm guessing this is going to be your jungle. They did say it on live, but I don't remember. But I'm pretty sure this is jungle. When you use a non-ultimate... Oh, wait, no. Because this is jungle. Actually, I don't know what this one is. This might be solo. Solo or mid? I have to look at the next two to try and figure that out. When you use a non-ultimate ability, its cooldown is reduced by 1.5. This effect may only occur every... Okay, so I think this is your mid mages. Yeah, but these steps are very easy to get, obviously. You could probably get this, what, the first 5 to 7 minutes into the game, I feel like. I mean, you spend a lot of mana, and 2000 damage is not a lot at all. It's super easy to get. When you use an optimal... Okay, so this is basically a Chronos Pendant. This is going to be really good. Especially, let's say you're playing Thoth, for example, and you go Conduit into... Chronos Pendant, and then you also do this. I mean, Chronos Pendant already gives you 1 second off of all of your cooldowns every 10 seconds, and this is what, for every second? What is the... when you use a non-ultimate ability? Okay, so when you use an ability, this will happen. Yikes. If you use Thoth one, for example, you can just essentially use it twice. This is going to be really, really, really good on your mages that spam abilities, or even mages that don't have good cooldown. You can actually use this to your benefit and have your cooldowns up a lot easier. So this is really good. Party Punch. This is the jungle. So kill or assist 30 jungle minions, traverse 1500 units, and your passive is every 100 units traveled, you gain a buff that deals 20 plus 15% of your power. Physical damage, so I'm guessing you cannot buy this on mages. Physical damage to the next enemy god, maybe it'll apply. I actually don't know. That's actually interesting. I wonder if these are specific to, like, you can't build this on a, let's say, Hebo or an Ao Kuang, because it says physical damage. I don't know. But that is interesting. This is very good in Conquest. But in Joust, this is probably, you're never probably going to buy this. Although you can get kills and assists on jungle minions, it's going to take you a while, because in an ideal world, you're probably only getting 2 to 3 buff camps, or even less depending if you're losing, and they don't come up that frequently. And seeing as we're on the Joust map that only has 4 camps on the map, this is definitely not going to be good. Now, this might have been good if we were on the other Joust map, the Season 7 J Dragon map, where there were a lot more chances to get jungle buffs, but for some reason we're on this map, so this is definitely going to be even worse on Joust. This is probably going to be the one you're never going to really buy, especially with units traveled. The map is considerably small compared to Conquest, so this is definitely not going to be one you're going to want to buy in Joust, but definitely good in Conquest. And the last one, Durable Drumstick. This has to be your solo lane, so deal 1500 damage to your gods, successfully damage an enemy god 20 times with basic attacks or abilities. This effect may occur. Okay, so not too hard, very easy. Passive, being out of combat for 5 seconds grants you a buff that reduces the damage of the next basic attack or ability from a god by 20%. So basically you're just getting 20% damage mitigation every 5 seconds if you're out of combat. This is definitely good. True to what it is supposed to be. This is definitely going to be good on gods like Mulan, Kukulkan, basically your warriors and your bruiser-ish type guardians like Atlas. I'm trying to think, how often are you out of combat in Joust? I'm also trying to compare that to Conquest, because in Conquest there is a lot of time where you're out of combat. You're just trying to traverse the map, seeing as it's a huge ass map. Now with Joust, you're probably less likely to be out of combat. I'm guessing this includes minions as well, and buff camps, because you're not technically out of combat, at least in terms of what it was with like the anti-heal system that they had. I'm trying to compare it to that, I'm assuming. This is definitely gonna be good. I think so. Out of all of them, this is definitely a good one. This is probably one of the better ones in terms of Joust. So Durable Drumstick, Bountiful Boa, I'm just gonna say that, and then probably definitely these two, Durable Drumstick and Bountiful Boa, are going to be your best options. Sturdy Stew you might not need to get all the time, seeing as it's definitely going to be dictated by their team comp, seeing as being hit by a hard crowd control creates a pulse. So if they have gods that don't have a lot of hard crowd control, you may not want to buy this. But considering if you're like a Ganesh, like I said, you can still buy this, as I think there are still a decent amount of gods that have hard crowd control. So this might not always be the best to buy, but you can definitely buy this majority of the time if you want to. And then Golden Gooseberries, I don't know if that's going to have too much of an impact for hunters or even mage auto attack gods. I don't know how much you're going to be doing. I mean, you're in Joust, so you're always near your allies. So this might, but it's 10 unit radius. I don't know. That's very small. This is definitely be good against your minions and jungle camps. Specifically, this is meant for your hunters in lane. But would you rather go this? Or, I mean, is there anything really else? You might just have to buy that. Yeah. So like I said, these are definitely all good, except Party Punch in terms of Joust. This is definitely really good. Now that I'm thinking about it more, because your other options aren't really all that much, except if you're a, unless you're a, what is it? Ability-based hunter, you're definitely going Bountiful. But like for gods like Shablanke, Rama, or whatever, there's really nothing else that you have that can substitute that would be better. So actually it's pretty, these are all pretty good except Party Punch. Durable Drumstick and Bountiful Bow are probably going to have the biggest impact, but these two are also very, very good too. But yeah, these are pretty cool mechanics I like, especially seeing as it's 0 gold. And then I'm assuming you're probably going to sell this late game, as I think most of your items that you're going are going to be a lot better than your recipes towards the end, of course. Yeah. So pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, and then we're going into starter items, the item section. So Mannequin Scepter has been one of those items that really doesn't have any play. There's really no point of going this, especially considering the other starters that are just objectively better. This used to be a very good starter item back in the day, but for the entirety of this season, I don't think this has been very good. I might be wrong on that, but so they decreased the gold by 100, which is good, but not the problem with mannequins. And then Mannequin Mace, they increased health from 75 to 100. That's negligible. And then they added 15% attack speed. So that is definitely really good. The health is whatever. You didn't buy mannequins for that. So this is the upgraded version of mannequins that basically has the same sort of passive as this one. Not the other one, because that one, I believe... Yeah, this is the one that's similar to this one. I still don't think this is a good item. I don't know if the 15% attack speed is going to help this at all. I think the problem... What is the problem with mannequins? I haven't even, like, really talked about this item ever this season. I just think maybe the other starter items are just better. Mannequins was one of those items that you can kind of go on junglers too, like Arachne. Or even, you know, obviously, like, you can put this on Soul. But I think that other starter items are just better in general. But they definitely, that's exactly what they're doing with the attack speed. They want to give this to hunters or auto attack mages. So, but definitely good. I still don't think it's going to be better than anything else that there is. I think Arrow is just better. What's the other one? I always forget names, but the one, the Hood. I'm gonna call it the Hood because I don't remember what the hell it is. That's just better. It has more bloated stats. Death's Toll, I mean, it's just better in general. So I don't think this is gonna do much of anything. Vampiric Shroud, another starter item nobody ever buys. At the very least, they're trying to push some of the items that obviously no one buys. So this one is increased lifesteal from 4 to 6. So basically, adding an extra third or half, however which you look at it. And then increased mana restore from 6 to 8. And then, oh, they upgraded these. Blood Soaked Shroud. Increased magical power from 80 to 85. Nice. More power. Increased lifesteal from 10% to 12%. Okay. And Sacrificial Shroud. Increased lifesteal from 10 to 12. Okay, so little small things. What do I think about this? This is sort of okay. It's nothing that's going to push it towards anything being better. You might see this more on Anubis, but outside of like those specifically obvious lifesteal gods like that in Hades, I don't really see why you would build this. This used to be a very good item on gods in the solo lane last season, as it had, like, I think it had protections, physical protections. But I think they got rid of that. So now they're trying to push this, obviously, with the power and the increased lifesteal. They're trying to push this for gods that have lifesteal. But with the recent, like, changes to lifesteal, changing the cap, changing the out of combat healing, and then also I think there was a scale. The scaling is different too. That's exactly why they're doing this, because they're pushing this a little bit higher, so you can, because of the scaling issues. But I don't think this is going to be built either way. You're probably going to build this more often on, like you said, your lifesteal gods. But pretty cool. I enjoy them. I enjoy them buffing things that nobody buys. Especially Sacrificial Shroud. That item is crazy. Like, you kill yourself if you don't have a lot of built-in lifesteal. So, alright, another item that nobody buys. Absolution. Increase CC immunity from 1 second to 1.5. Now, that is a lot of CC. Jesus, that's an extra half a second. In Smite terms, that's a whole minute. A whole fucking 5 minutes of extra CC immunity, essentially. No, it's still too niche. If I remember right, because this item is dog water, this gives you your allies within a certain radius CC immunity if you use your ult, which is crazy because if you're building this on your gods like support like, or even gods like Nike, for example, that's too niche. When you're using your ult, like I think I've said this like over and over again in other videos, if you're using your ult specifically for this item, you're kind of wasting it. Now, there could be a situation where it's coincidental that you need to use your ult also being in the same vicinity of your teammates, where someone else is coincidentally using their abilities that will hard CC them to where they could use CC immunity. It's just too much. And then you also have to account that most people who have beads are going to use their beads or their CC immune abilities to CC immune what's coming towards them usually. So it's sort of just like a waste unless you're like specifically buying this with a team where you can communicate, where it's like, here, I'm about to ult, that person is about to CC you, let me use my ult so that you will be CC immune, so you don't have to use your beads, or like, it's just so niche of a niche. Like, it's so incredibly just so hyper specific. So this isn't the problem with the item, the CC immunity. It's cool. At some point, if they keep pushing that, it's going to be broken as hell. Definitely better, but I think the problem is the fundamentals of this item just not being general enough. So doesn't do much of anything. Aussie, let's see, decreased cost from 2450 to 2400, increased physical power 4050, and then they increased passive health threshold from 50. I remember this might change certain builds like the Transcendence Aussie, like I think they said. But specifically in Joust, you were already building this item like second or third item. So this is definitely going to be even better in Joust. So you're now just buying this in general. So Transcendence Aussie is even better. If you wanted to go up against like a double squish team, you can go into like a usually Griffin Wing. You can buy your starter like the hood. I always forget the name of that one. And then you can go into an Aussie. So I mean, there's so many options here. If you're going up against like a double tank, you may not buy this until like third item as you want to get your XE online, but still you're definitely buying this your second, third. I wouldn't really buy it first, but definitely a lot better. And in Conquest, it's going to be a little bit different, but I still think that builds are going to change a little bit, I think. All right. Divine Ruin, decreased cost from 25, so 100 gold. Ever since they changed Divine's passive, this has always been a good item, regardless if they had anti-heal. I guess this is fine. I don't think there was a lot of healing in general, so I don't think we're in a healing meta anymore. Aphrodite isn't as oppressive. Hell, you don't really ever see in support anymore. I think that the healing meta is dead. Not that it's annoying if they still do it, but it's not as disgusting as it was. So I don't know how I feel about that. Erosion, this item, man, it's such a weird item. I like the premise of it, but it's such a, I don't know, it's just awkward. But let's see, decreased cost from 23, so 100 gold, and then increased passive effect radius. Okay, 30 to 40. That is definitely a good step in the right direction. The problem with this item was that you have to be really close to somebody for this to work. Now, it might be good against gods like Nike, because usually Nike is an all-inner. When she uses her ult, she's near enemies, so that's definitely good. But other gods like Geb, I can't think of any other gods with shields, but Shell in general, you were like on the edge of being close enough for this to be good, especially seeing as the passive only does 30% of shields, I believe, unless they changed it, but it's something not like significant. I think that's also a problem. Maybe if they up that, it would be better. But the main issue with this item is that Sunder is disgusting. In order for this item to have some type of impact, Sunder needs to be not as good. especially its upgraded Sunders. They even nerfed it from what I remember, and it's still such a really good item to go into. People are skipping Shell and just going Sunder for that slot. So why would you really go this if you can just go Sunder? Its base stats are pretty nice. It gives you both of each protections. I think it gives you something else. I don't remember this item. You don't really ever build, but it's relatively niche. And when you want to use it, you can just buy Sunder, and it's definitely better than this. So those are the big issues with this item, I think. Jotun's Vigor. So this is the second item on the right that's not similar to Jotun's. So increased passive health threshold from 50. So I can always forget about this item because this passive used to be they flip-flopped it with Executioner, I remember. So I think this one does health or lifesteal, I believe now. Whereas the other one on on Xe gives you extra damage on your autos, I think. If this is what I'm thinking of, then this is definitely good. Jotun's glyphs are kind of the worst glyphs in the game, so I think definitely upping this is really good. You usually went this one anyways, from what I remember, unless you have some cooldown on gods, but the other one's Jotun's Cunning, I think. Definitely need to see more of these for these two glyphs. Mail of Renewal. This item, yikes. Okay, so decreased max stacks from 5 to 4. So you're getting more stacks easier. And then decreased protections per stack from 4 to 5. So you're, okay. And decreased internal cooldown from its passive. So 60 to 45 per second. Okay, so 15 seconds. That's actually a lot better. And then similarly to all the other changes that they've been making recently, they decreased max stacks. So you're reaching your max stacks a lot easier, but you don't have to worry about like the loss of a stack because they made it commensurate. So you're getting 5. It's basically the same, but you're getting your stacks a lot easier. So definitely a lot better. You're probably going to see this a lot more on gods like King Arthur. Definitely in the solo lane a lot more. Maybe that's why they did this with Divine, because this item might be really good now. Because you're definitely getting that passive a lot sooner. You're just going to be getting health, huh? Yeah. Definitely really good. I think this is actually going to push this item up more, as this item never really got seen at all. Even after they buffed it. This is like the second or third time. Alright, Oni's Hunter Garb. Increased mitigation from 3 to 4. Okay, so they're just reverting this. Back when mitigation was a problem, they nerfed it by 1% per stack. So now instead, I think you got 4 stacks, or is it 3 stacks? I think it's 3 stacks. Yeah, I think it's 3 stacks. If this is 4 stacks, it'd be 16. That'd be a little too much. So instead of getting 9 stacks, I think you're getting now 12, if I believe. But either way, they're reverting this, and I think that's good because this item was good back in the day, or it wasn't even that long ago. But nobody really buys this anymore. So this is definitely, I think they should have just kept this the same and then fixed the problem, which was the cap on mitigation. So definitely good that they changed this back after they fixed it. Toxic Blade, this item, man. Alright, increased penetration from 10 to 15. I think that is good. This item has a lot of bloated stats. Like it has health, attack speed, a lot of attack speed, 60% anti-heal at 3 stacks, I believe. 2 stacks, I can't remember. They changed that to where that's better. Now it has 15 flat pen. It gives you something else too, so a lot of stats, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty cheap. Problem with this item, where do I even begin? So 2 things. We're not in a healing meta, so I don't think this is going to be that much of an issue where you would need to buy this on gods, which is my second point here. You build this on gods who are auto attack based, as it sort of entails implicitly based on its item, based on the item. So you're either building this on auto attack hunters slash mage hunters, whatever the hell, like soul, whatever. And then you're also building this maybe on solos like Amma, Bologna, or whatever, as it's good with your kit as you're building auto attack. So you're really not buying this on anyone else, if I'm thinking correctly. Yeah, you're really not buying this on anyone else, like generally speaking, of course. So that's another problem, is that it feels so bad to build this item on all hunters, because you're, in exchange for some anti-heal and a lot of bloated stats, I might add, you're not getting the power or the passive that you would normally get with other items like Kins, Dominance, even Oboe, because Oboe doesn't have any power, but you're getting like 35% attack speed, and you're also getting Chain Lightning in its passive. Or did I say that? You're getting power, you're getting damage in your Chain Lightning, and you're also getting attack speed in its core abilities. That's what I mean, in its core description. So that's the problem. I think that it's good that they're upping the penetration to make it more it's more what's the word, looks good, it looks better to build, so it's not as punishing. Because yeah, that was another big issue, is that you're really sacrificing a lot of damage, and even specifically with tanks, because it's not a tanky item, so you're also losing a tank item if you're like solo. So that was the issue. I still don't think this is going to be that big of a change to where you're going to build this, as I feel like items like this should only be used in certain situations because it's anti-heal. I don't think Toxic Blade needs to be a core item. If it is, I think that's a problem. So yeah, definitely in the right direction for making it seem better in those situations where you would need to build anti-heal. But items like Brawlers and Divine or Contagion or Pestilence, I think is just enough anti-heal to where if you were to buy this, I don't think it's all that great. Now, of course, this is going to be good for duel. This is definitely good for duel, but every other game mode, nah, not really. All right, Warlock Staff, just a small increase in health, which is fine. Makes those tanks, those hybrid tanks like Songquay a lot better. Decreased cost, this is actually fine. Tablet of Destinies is weirdly in a good spot, I think. May need to buff it a little bit. They killed this item when they killed the stats and killed Book of Thoth, but they're slowly making this a little better. I still think this is a very good item on your solo lanes, like Jormungandr, for example. This can still be good on gods like Baba, late game, especially in Conquest. But outside of Conquest, you're not building this in Joust. Don't ever build this. You're just sacrificing so much damage. Unless you somehow know the future and know that this game, the Joust game is going to go 30 minutes. Because that's when you get your starters online. It's like 30 minutes into the game in Joust. So, which is a whole nother different problem with Joust, and I'm going to go over in a future video. But so that's all of the items. Overall, decent. They're hitting all the items that I think need to be fixed. Some of them like these, Absolution, Toxic Blade-ish. They're good, but just not enough to where I think it's going to have that too much of an impact, or have too much of an impact. Now on the god changes, I did see a lot of these spicy changes, which they said. Let me see if I remember. So Audacity is passive. That's where you get extra auto attack speed after like a certain amount of autos, I think 5 or 6. So with this effect, you're basically getting 20% increased basic attack projectile speed, which is Griffin Wing. Now the first thing that came to mind was like, wait, does this stack with Griffin Wing? If this stacks with Griffin Wing, you're never missing your autos. Although I don't know how much of an impact that would be if it stacked. Not too much of an impact, I think, as the projectile speed is really good in Griffin Wing. So, but you're basically getting Griffin Wing in this, which is cool. It's a cool little interesting gimmick. You may not even need to go Griffin Wing on this god. You can go something else, for example. Definitely very good. So beautiful. That's his one. Increased projectile speed, similar to that, and then also increased scaling damage, which is good. This first ability was semi hard to hit. Wasn't like the craziest skill shot in the game, but you're definitely gonna be hitting this a lot more. And of course, the damage of it, definitely good. And then Serenade. They said this was back in the beta. I don't think I was playing during that time, but they added magical protections as well as physical in its Serenade. Hybrid Apollo and solo lane split pushing, that should be fun. No, I don't think they're going to be hybrid, but there's definitely going to be a lot more split pushing, because in the second or the fourth part of this buff, they increased, or they decreased landing time from 0.8 to 0.6, so you're landing a lot sooner. Decreased tick time from 0.2 to 0.15, which is sort of similar to why this can be doing more damage and you're gonna be landing faster, which is nice. And then the big boy here, decreased mana cost from 40 to 35 to 80 to 55, which means late game you can just go across the entire map without a care in the world. Split pushing is going to be a lot worse on this god, as you can do whatever the hell you want, seeing as you don't have any mana issues. So if you go like trans on this, you can just go wherever the hell you want, which is cool-ish. Not really. I don't know if I like that in terms of conquest, but definitely might be better in Joust. I still think his ult is kind of useless in Joust, outside of niche situations. But overall, I think this is a good change. Turno. Yes, I remember this. So increased projectile speed from 105 to 125. So this is his 1. So similar to him, to Apollo, you're definitely going to be hitting this a lot easier. This is one of those items that, or one of the abilities that can be easily dodgeable. So this is definitely good. Decreased minimum airtime. So decreased minimum airtime. I'm guessing that's while it's in air. God 95 AO1 deployable mesh. Increased collision radius 20 to 25. Okay. They went over this, but I don't remember exactly what this means. And then added 25% slow for 2 seconds initial hit. That's gonna be crazy. I think they changed this with another ability that he has that gives slows, which I think is his 3. Increased collision radius from 20 to 25. I'm thinking you can use your 2 and hit this a lot sooner is what I'm thinking, if I remember right, which is also good because it means you can pop its second part of the ability and stun them and do more damage a lot quicker. So this ability is gonna be a lot quicker, very similar to Anher's jump, where it was like very clunky and awkward. This is definitely gonna be good. Vicious Barrage shifted duration from 3 to 5 seconds to 4 at all ranks. So this, if you don't know, gave you attack speed whenever you used it. So instead of it being slowly increased over time, it's just gonna be 4 seconds at all ranks, which is very good in my opinion, as you're just getting a consistent amount early and late, and it doesn't affect it too much. Decreased cooldown from 12 seconds to 7 seconds. This is wild. They're essentially cutting this in half, which means you're definitely building, what's the item that I don't like? I can't remember. It's the gray. It's the one that gives you stacks. They changed the stacks. I don't know. I always suck with item names. It's the gray one that gives you extra stacks. You're building on this now. I think it's at 40 stacks. So you're definitely building this all the time on this god. And then they decreased the mana cost by a lot. Late game and early game. I think it's 20 overall, right? Nothing changes? Yeah. So definitely way better. Way better. And then it's 3, decreased total dash time from, so you're doing this a lot quicker into walls if you want to. Decreased or increased damage by 15, so that's definitely good, and then remove the slow. So overall, this is a very good buff to him. Very, very good. And then Pele, Pyroclast. This ability, oh my god, this is actually sick. This ability now provides fuel. So if you don't know, her passive gives you fuel. You have 100, and you use your 3, and it does AoE damage around you within like a small radius that's around you. But in order to regain all your fuel back, you just had to wait. So time was always, you're just waiting on time. But now with your Pyroclast, you can use your 1, this is your 1, and you can just get a flat amount of fuel if you hit an enemy. So this is definitely gonna be a lot better. So if you run out of your 3, you can just use your 1 at max rank, because you're maxing this out anyways. So by default, you're leveling up your 1. You're basically leveling, not really leveling up your 3, but you're gonna have a lot of, you're gonna have your 3 up a lot more longer and frequently. So this is definitely really good. You're definitely going to upgrade your 1 even more now. And your Volcanic Lightning, her ult, increased number of hits from 3 to 4, which is really good. But to balance that a little bit, they're decreasing the attack damage from 50 to 40, which is good in my opinion. She's gonna be way better. She was one of those gods where she basically all in, and because she doesn't have a very good getaway ability outside of her ult and her speed and her 3, whenever you ult, you were sort of just dying. You're gonna get like maybe 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 kills, and then you're probably just gonna die, and then you know your team can go from there. She was very good pub stompy early game type god. This is definitely gonna make it even better. So now you're gonna be able to kill with your Pyroclast 3 combo and your Volcanic Lightning, now doing more damage, even though they're reducing the basic attack damage reduction. So very good for Pele. I didn't think she really needed a buff. I think she's just one of those gods that are always going to be that is always going to be a pretty decent god, but then falls off late game. But now you're just definitely, whenever you dive, you're just killing, you're shredding, you're just gonna have everything up now. Definitely very good, in my opinion, because I like her. Arachne, they changed this. This was crazy. So they decreased the cocoon. So this is the one where you stun. You use you use 3 autos, it used to be, and you would stun them. Now it's 2, which is wild to me. You only have 2 autos, seeing as you're building auto attack speed on this god anyways. It's essentially a stun right off the bat. But they decreased the duration of the buff from 6 seconds to 4 seconds. So you would get auto attack speed. So in order to counterbalance that, they made it to that 4 seconds instead of 6. And then the stun from essentially your buff would end, the attack speed would end after you cocoon them. So now that won't happen anymore. Definitely a huge buff, especially early game. I don't know if they knew this, but this is going to be a lot easier to what's the word? Snowball. This is going to be a lot easier to snowball early game. Even though she was already one of those gods like Thanatos, similar, where you would just snowball early game. It's going to make it a lot easier. Actually, I don't know if they think to do that. Maybe, I don't know. Her web, that's her 3, that's her broodlings. I usually call it just little fucking spiders, but they increase the number of broodlings from 2 at all ranks to 2, 2, 2. So basically you're just getting a third one at your max rank. So this sort of incentivizes you to level it up more. I think you're leveling up your spider bite still, and then probably your cocoon. The web wasn't necessarily for its broodlings, it was for its slow and your speed up basically. It's cool. It's cool. I guess it helps late game, although I don't think it really does all too much in my opinion. And then your Nightcrawler increased, that's her ult, leap range from 40 to 50, which will help you get closer to your enemies, even though a lot of the time you use this to try and disengage. On to the next spicy change, Thoth, me boy, Thoth. So Dead Reckoning, that's his one, added 1% magical penetration per stack. So I think there's a stack of 5? I think it's 5 stacks. If you don't know, he basically just gets flat pen based on the amount of I think I'm mixing up passive. I think it's the amount of enemies you kill, I believe. And then you get a stack. You would get flat pen. But now that they're adding magical pen to this, so you're also getting you're also getting percent pen. That's what I meant. So you're getting you're getting flat and magical percent pen, which is really good on Thoth. Thoth has been one of those gods that, at least in Joust, Conquest 2 actually, where until late game, you're really not killing those tanks. Especially seeing as you can kind of just weave around his one, as it is a skill shot, and his ult is a very hard skill shot to hit if they're moving around, which they should be. But adding percent pen makes him a lot better at doing damage to tanks, especially seeing as you're just flat out getting percent pen early in the game. And now I'm an idiot. I said this was his 1. This is not his 1. This is his passive. And then now we're at his 1, Hieroglyphic Assault. This now deals 25% more damage to jungle minions, so this is definitely good. Thoth has been one of the worst gods at doing buffs. Really horrible at doing buffs. You essentially early game you're just getting half hit, and then towards the you're still hardly doing buffs effectively as Thoth. So this is definitely good in all game modes, but specifically Conquest. And then Glyph of Pain, that's his 3, increased basic attack damage. This is negligible. It's cool. You're not really using this for auto attacks unless you're helping your teammates like kill a tower. So that's niche, but definitely fine. And then his ult, they increased his damage by 15% in terms of magical scaling. And then they just added a flat 20 damage, I believe, at all ranks, which is good. Definitely going to be, doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot considering that 15% more power scaling. So this is going to be really, this is going to be hitting like a truck even more than it does. So be wary of that. But this is going to make Thoth even better in Joust. Thoth has been one of those gods that, make sure I don't miss them. Okay. Thoth has been one of those gods that you really just hate seeing in Joust. He's so annoying with the conduit Chronos, and now with the new cooking thing that they added, where you're basically getting 1.5 seconds off. Like I said earlier, you're just essentially using your one whenever. So this is going to make Thoth even better. So definitely might be a bigger ban. And then we have my boy Rajan. This guy just he's just sucked. Just bluntly, he's just sucked. But this should make him better. Charge tempo, every basic attack on enemies reduce. So this is definitely, this coinciding with his already really good passive of just reducing cooldowns through abilities. And now you're just basically doing more with auto attack. So this might convince, or might incentivize you to do more basic attacks. So this is definitely going to make all of his abilities come up even faster. As this god is disgusting late game. Like, regardless of what we want to say about Rajan, his cooldowns make his damage crazy once you get those cooldowns online. And then Raiju, so this is his 2. So they added damage and then percent scaling on initial hit on landing of Raiju. So initially when you would hit it, it wouldn't do any damage, but now it's going to. So you can just pop this out if you have like divine or anything, and you can just, as long as you hit it, you do at least something, which I think is really good. You would usually a lot of times get hit by this, wouldn't do any damage, and then he would miss somehow and nothing really comes out of that. But now you're getting damage, so definitely really good. As I thought this was supposed to be a thing in general anyways. It's kind of weird it doesn't do any damage when you land it, but they did change that, which is very good quality of life. And if I'm thinking about most of these are all very good quality of life changes. They say spicy, but a lot of these are just quality of life in my opinion. And then we have Thunder Crashed, reduced pre-fire and setup times from 0.2 to 0.1, which has been another issue with him, is that deceptively his 3 is easy to stun him out of, CC him out of somehow, like cripples or anything like that. So very, very good. Honestly, for him, I think this shouldn't even be like a, I don't even think I should just be instant, honestly. But this definitely makes it a lot easier for him to not get stunned out of. And then finally his ult, what is this one again? Oh, that's right, you're basically getting an auto attack speed, so similar to Yanis ult and who is the other god, Serket, that they said, where they get base crit passively and percent pen for Yanis. You're getting auto attack speed, which is a very weird thing to do, but I guess it's, when you consider that they're adding an auto attack speed passive, it definitely makes sense. But I still don't think it's gonna be that important, as I don't think you're ever gonna, it's just a little, it's cool that they added this. I don't know how much of an impact this is gonna have, but I think it's still good. But yeah, you're basically gonna be auto attacking really fast apparently now, so that's cool. It's cool. And then King Arthur, my boy King Arthur, not a very good god currently. I am honestly not complaining. I think, was it season 7, season 8, he was a menace. Everyone hated him, especially with the old Glad Shield giving you health, if you guys remember that. That shit was cancer. But they changed that, and now they're changing his passive, Steadfast. So if you don't know, I believe his passive gives you a bunch of stats, and it's a bunch of stats per stack, and I think each stack stacks up to 3 times, if that made sense, or 4, I can't remember. No, okay, they're changing the max stats right now. Okay, I'm an idiot. It was 4 and now it is 3, but before I go into this, it was really disgusting. You get a bunch of like random stats and mitigation. So that was one of the main things about King Arthur that was broken too. But let's see, they decrease duration from 15 to 10 seconds, which is a nerf, like they said, but it's going to be heavily upped by the fact that they're decreasing max stacks from 4 to 3, but they're upping the increased mitigation from 1 to 2.5, and then now you just get 5 HP 5 per stack, so that's just cool. Now you're just never dying. So instead of having 4% mitigation beforehand, now you're getting 7.5% at max stacks. And it's not hard to stack his passive, if I remember correctly, as you just need to land abilities. But when you think about this, items like Oni's Hunter Garb, Mail of Renewal being really good now, on the top of them changing damage or mitigation to where now your mitigations that you're getting based on a god that you're playing now stacks with like the already mitigation that you're getting with items. So if you build Oni Hunter's Garb, Mail of Renewal with the HP 5, and then you're building an item like Spirit Robe, for example, you're gonna go past the stack. You're gonna go past the mitigation cap, because this stacks with it. So if you reach mitigation cap with items, you're gonna go above and beyond when you use this. So this might be, he might be really broken. Like if you go into the main starter item, I can't remember what it's called, but it gives you mitigation in its passive, in its upgraded version. He might be really good. To be fair, he has a low win rate, like they said, but still, I don't know, man. He's just gonna be harder and harder to kill with all these buffs to him. So a lot of it not even being purposeful in terms of implicit to himself, but based on like other items. So definitely really good, especially with these that we haven't even gone over yet. And his 2, he's increasing his slow debuff to where now early game you're now getting that slow. It's gonna be a lot more potent. His 3 in his blue stance, you're getting. So this was apparently a issue or a bug, but it's still technically a buff. You're now debuffing for 3% more in terms of the protections, and then your 3 in your orange stance, you're now increasing the damage per swing, and then for its final swing, you get an extra 25. So this is definitely really good for King Arthur. I think King Arthur is probably going to be really good. I don't know if he's going to be dominant, but he's definitely going to be a lot better. I might not be looking forward to this because I always hated going up against the King Arthur because he was unable to be killed. So if you pair this with like Soul Eater with all the other items I'm thinking of, that's going to be fun. Moving on, Osiris, definitely a god that just sucked. Like, there's nothing really good about this god. Really, he just sucked in every game mode. Probably better in other game modes than Conquest, but definitely is not good in Conquest. So in his passive, it increased magical damage mitigation from 1% per fragment to 2%. As I believe at max you would get 8% magical and then 16% physical, which was such a weird thing to me because you do more damage as a mage, which is, I don't know why they did that, but now they made it similar to where now you're getting 16 per damage, so physical and magical, which is good. Increases, and now they added a new thing where they increases your attack speed by 20% while all stacks are active, which I don't think was a thing, if I remember, which is really good. Just passively, you're just getting that, and it's not hard to get your fragments online because I think you just use your abilities. Sigil Strike, this has to be the best change in Osiris's kit. It always felt so bad that you would get blocked by minions, camps, or anything of the sort. This projectile now passes through and damages every minion for 50% of the total damage. You can now clear better, and you damage the god potentially 2 in 1. Absolutely similar to Hell's 1 and her healing stance. This is going to be super good. I'm so glad they did this because this is a quality of life change that I always thought was weird that they didn't do already. But this is definitely really good. And then Judgment Tether now decreases the tethered enemies tethered enemies attack speed by 20%. So now when you use your 3, their attack speed is reduced by 20. So definitely good against those hunters. In Conquest, he's going to be better. In the solo lane, I think there's an issue that's been had, and I think they're trying to resolve it now, is that auto attack gods suck compared to the ability based gods, and it's always been a sort of back and forth thing where ability based or auto attack based have kind of each have ruled the solo lane. It's very, I wouldn't say rare, but a lot of the times they're not both good at the same time. So definitely upping this buffing gods like this is going to be a lot better for the solo lane. Now in terms of Joust, I think he was definitely better than he was in Conquest, which makes me believe that he's going to be a lot better in Joust, especially seeing as there's a lot of hunters. So Osiris might be a hunter counter that might be seen more, seeing as now you have decreased enemy attack speed when you use your 3. So that should be really, really interesting to see. He may not be top of the meta, but he's definitely better. Definitely a tier higher. Very good change. On to Ares, which I don't know why they did this. They increased basic attack damage from 38 to 40, which is negligible, but still annoying. I'm sorry, base attack damage. And then they just, I don't know, they already buffed Ares and to where you have infinite chains, basically. But now Ares gains bonus attack damage per level. I don't know. Then you get Ares and now they just added a new thing where now you get basic attack damage while in an area for your allies. So you're just passively getting more. I mean, of course they decreased the duration, but I still think it's hell of a lot better now that, you know, I think HP 5 is just, was it HP 5 or no, it was CDR or CCR. And it's a 30% CCR just flat out. You know, it doesn't scale for each time you level it up. This is even better. Now added damage mitigation in his ult. That was a problem. He'd always die. But that's really just people not playing him correctly. You don't want to use your ult as you're about to die, but definitely is a lot easier to use and not die when using this correctly, of course. And then Shackles, this is 3. Decreased god damage per tick by 5, which is good. They're trying to make it balanced, but still think he's going to be even more disgusting than he already is. I didn't think Ares needed a buff in general to begin with, so just my opinion though. Kabrakan is a very interesting one. I think he's a lot better now. His Tremors felt so bad to use because it just used so much mana and the cooldown was really high. But so they decreased the mana cost for each level. I'm sorry, increased mana cost for each level. Wait, let me read this again. Mana every 0.5 seconds. Yeah. So they're increasing the mana that it uses because its cooldown is now 3 seconds, meaning that you're gonna have this up a lot more, but you're gonna be destroying how much mana you have. So like early game, it's not gonna be good. But to counteract that, they increased his MP5 basically in half, and then also made it to where you can now just get your mana back per hit when you level up his 2, which you were already leveling up to begin with. So this is going to be really, really good if you hit like an entire wave. You're just basically getting, what, 3 times 6, 180 mana back. So that's going to be really good. Overall, I think this is a really good change for him. He was already good in Joust, so definitely going to be a lot better. And then how much do we have left? Jesus. There's a lot of changes. My lord. Okay. I'm gonna hurry this up a little bit. No, it's not too much. Athena's getting a little bit of a change. Remove her slow from her ability. You didn't really use this a lot for that. But now, this is the one issue with the one big issue with Athena was the fact that late game, whenever you used your 2 on like a hunter or something, you just died because of how much auto attack speed and how much damage that you're just getting by basically taunting them. You're giving them free damage. So while enemies are taunted, their attack speed is slowed by 30%, which is good. Honestly, I think they should add a thing where it'll also decrease the auto attack damage, but this is definitely good. Now you won't get shredded as much. Shield wall added, now 20% slow for 2 seconds on both hits. I don't believe they stack, but definitely a lot better. So they're just basically changing the slow from 1 to 3, meaning that your 3, you're basically getting your slow a lot easier, which is good. And then allies, and per her ult, allies gain 20% movement speed, which I always felt like was good, or I always felt like needed something, because I don't think this gave your allies really too much of a big buff, if I remember. I think there's like a little thing, but I don't think this really gave your allies all that much. So this is definitely good. You can choose to go in or back off. So I think this is really good for Athena. Not that she really needed a change, because I think she was a really good god to begin with. But moving in, we're going to go to Amma. Amma is getting a buff, similar to Osiris, the auto attack gods. So they increase debuff duration from 5 seconds to 6 seconds, which is really good. And then for her one, she's getting attack speed. She's getting flat up attack speed, along with the healing and the movement speed / I can't remember what the other one is, but definitely very good. I feel like this is definitely a thing that she should have already had to begin with. So similar to everything else, it's just a quality of life. These are actually really good. And then let's go into a Cuckoo Cat. So Zephyr, that's his one. They're decreasing the mana cost from 90 to 75. I'm gonna make it a lot easier to just use your one without it making it feel bad. But honestly, with Book of Thoth, you're never really running out of mana to begin with. Whirlwind, decrease cooldown by 1 second overall, which is definitely good. Cuckoo has been one of those gods. It's kind of like noob friendly, but higher and intermediate even is not terribly hard to go up against. So definitely going to make this a little bit harder, or make him a little bit better. Maui's getting a buff. They decreased the cooldowns for his one by 2 seconds overall, and then increased the damage by a little bit, which is cool. And then they decreased mana cost from, so it's just a flat 55, similar to all the other gods that have been changing. They're just making it a flat number instead of it being increased overall, which in my opinion is good. Nemesis, not been very good in the meta, honestly. She's always been one of those gods you can kind of build whatever build you want on her and it'd still be good. And she's always been one of those gods that have always been like, yeah, if you want to play a god that's not bad nor OP, but very good, is Nemesis. So this is her one, decreased mana to making it flat 50. And then her two, decreased cooldown, which is good, making the ability based more incentivizing. And then they increased damage scaling from 30 to 35. Okay, yeah, definitely. This is definitely going to be more, this is more making it to where Nemesis ability base is a lot better. This is how I usually built her anyway, so this is fine by me. Scotty now has, let's see, her 3. Scotty now gains slow immunity. They didn't go over everything in here, so I actually don't remember this one. Scotty now gains slow immunity while she has the movement speed buff. Okay, so when you walk over her 3, you get movement speed, but you now also get slow immunity, which is actually very good. She's one of those gods you can just kind of gank whenever. She's still going to be one of those gods you can gank whatever, but maybe this will help her a lot, which is good. Ymir increased MP5 per level from 0.4 to 0.45. Very small, subtle change. And now in decreased cooldown for Ice Wall from 13 seconds at all rank to... Okay, so the more you up... They're just incentivizing this to make it to where you want to upgrade your Ice Wall so that you can have that up more often. Ymir has not been in the meta, but has always been one of those standard Guardians that have never really been bad. Just, you know, not overpowered. Moving into Baba, definitely an OP, underrated. I don't even know if she's underrated anymore, but she's definitely OP as hell. Definitely needs more of a nerf than what she's gotten here. She's getting decreased burst damage per hit to, or yeah, per hit 5 per each. So not a lot, even with the scaling. Decreased shield health from 440 to 380. I don't think this was a really big problem either. Her problem is that her damage do a ridiculous amount of damage. Her 3 hits for an absurd amount of damage, which it really shouldn't. It really should not have that much damage. Definitely going to impact her ult though, but overall, still broken. Charon, one of those gods that I initially thought wasn't going to be that great, but apparently is really good. This thing is one of the safest gods in the game. So definitely need a nerf. Decreased attack speed slow from 30% to 25, which is good. Swift Voyage, and this is the main thing that made him really good. increased cooldown from 15 seconds to making it to where now you have to upgrade it to get to 15 seconds. So, and seeing as you're Carolyn, you're never really building this. I'm sorry, you're never really leveling this. So you're going to be stuck at 17 seconds for a very long time, making him a lot harder to just get away. But definitely still a very good god. Okay, so Hashiman with his ult, we're increasing his cooldown from 90 seconds to 100, which is very good, seeing as you can just run away whenever you want when you're him. So definitely good that they're upping this. Jormungandr has been a very underrated pick. He's actually really good in all game modes, actually. So they're decreasing his base tick damage per his 1 from 5 damage, which isn't too much, but is probably a little bit noticeable, as the ticks from his 1 were really good. Kali is getting a little bit of a nerf. Decreased power buff from her. Actually, that's a lot. 50 to 20 overall once you get late game. And then in her ult, decreased damage per second, or every 5.5 seconds too. So 5 damage overall, not too much, but over this isn't going to affect her too much. Her late game is still with the best out of every single jungler. Marticarus, thank you, thank God, I remember this. So they're finally tackling one of the big issues with him, which was his 1 and 2 combo. But specifically in his passive, which was also really good, is the life steal per stack for his ability, and his auto attacks are definitely taking a hit. That was another big issue. His cooldown is now being 13 overall instead of 2, or I'm sorry, 11, so 2 difference when you upgrade it. And you were really upgrading this either your first or second ability, so you were basically getting 11-second cooldown at the beginning of the game. And then they're decreasing the hell out of his ult, which in my opinion, they're decreasing the damage, which was never, I mean, it was a problem, of course, but it wasn't the main issue. They needed to increase the cooldown, which I'm glad they did. Honestly, this bitch needs to be longer. He's ability based, so he's going to be building cooldown. I mean, I feel like you need to increase that a little bit more. I still think he's going to be good. I don't know how much this is going to do, because he's been nerfed 8 times or whatever the fuck. He's similar to Gilgamesh. So we'll see. We'll have to see. But definitely another nerf that I think is warranted. So with Set, I did not see this. The decreased dash damage, they're reverting it. Decreased dash damage from 80% to 70%. Oh my lord. So this is the damage that it does if you don't hit your 1, but the Set minion goes the same direction and hits the enemy god. It did a lot of damage, to be fair. So this isn't terrible. But 10% is a lot. Let's see that their ults now decrease movement speed. Oh man, now it's going to be extra important to level up your ult. So now you're not getting the base 30%, you're getting it by leveling it up. So that's going to be very interesting. He's still going to be good. Just a couple of small things that are going to make him a little bit worse. Thor, is he getting a buff or a nerf? Decreased damage, yeah, he's getting a nerf. So decreased damage from 50 to 210 to 40 to 200. So I'm guessing basically halving that. Or I'm sorry, not halving it, because the other part of it does even more damage when you get a subsequent hit. So that should be a little bit noticeable. Still going to be a lot of damage. And then Anvil Dawn is ult decreased damage scaling on initial hit from 100 to 90. So basically small shit. Small things towards the end of this with all the other gods that I feel like are still very much important. And then lastly, we got Aphrodite, non-conquest balance. Remove the non-ultimate cooldown nerf. That's right, so they made it to where her ultimate is a lot more. I don't know how I feel about this, because I think Aphrodite was really good when the healing meta was a thing, but similar to Conquest and every other game mode, majority Conquest, she hasn't been that great, especially with the nerfs to her too. So I'm not actually too opposed to this. Man, I'm not too opposed to that, but I do not like, I hate Afro. So, but overall not too bad. But very good patch, buffing and nerfing the things that need to be buffed. Few misses here and there in my opinion, but overall very good. Another win in high reses. Updates recently, I really enjoy. Let's see if I can get to it. What are they called? recipes. I really enjoy the recipes because this actually will have a significant impact and act as sort of like a starter item, a second starter item, however you want to look at it. And I think that's going to be really fun. Mini game inside of a game. Always a fun thing, sort of. All right, so that's basically all of the patch notes. I think that was a like I said, it's a very good singular patch note, not a bonus balance, which I don't think we've had for 10.8 yet. I don't know if they're going to do it, but they did this before that, so. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think this is good? Any significant things that I may overlooked or that you want to go over yourself? Feel free to comment in the section below. Comment section below. But other than that, that's all I got for you. So thank you guys for watching.